Mitigating circumstances, Article 13 of the RPC Part 10. In this case, the Supreme Court said, the presence of the fifth mitigating circumstance of Article 13 of the Revised Penal Code, that is, immediate vindication of a grave offense, may be taken into consideration in favor of the two accused, because although the elopement took place on January 4, 1935, and the aggression on the 7th of said month and year, the offense did not cease while the abducted daughter's whereabouts remained unknown and her marriage to the deceased unlegalized. Therefore, there was no interruption from the time the offense was committed to the vindication thereof. The accused belongs to a family of old customs to whom the elopement of a daughter with a man constitutes a grave offense to their honor and causes disturbance of the peace and tranquility of the home, and at the same time spreads uneasiness and anxiety in the minds of the members thereof. Page 608. Interval of time negating vindication. 1. Approximately 9 months before the killing, the deceased boxed the accused several times in the face, resulting in the conviction of the deceased for less serious physical injuries. He appealed, pending which the accused killed him. It cannot be said that the second incident was an immediate or approximate vindication of the first. People v. Lumayag. 2. The deceased uttered the following remark at 11 o'clock in the morning in the presence of the accused and his office mates. Nag istam bay pala dito ang magnanika or hindi ko alam na itong civil service pala I istam bayan ng magnanika. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon of the same day, the accused killed the deceased. The mitigating circumstance of vindication of a grave offense does not avail. People v. Benito. 3. Where the accused heard the deceased say that the accused's daughter is a flirt, and the accused stabbed the victim 2 months later. The mitigating circumstance of immediate vindication of a grave offense cannot be considered in favor of accused because he had sufficient time to recover his serenity. The supposed vindication did not immediately or proximately follow the alleged insulting and provocative remarks. People v. Lopez. Distinguish provocation from vindication. 1. In the case of provocation, it is made directly only to the person committing the felony. In vindication, the grave offense may be committed also against the offender's relatives mentioned by the law. 2. In vindication, the offended party must have done a grave offense to the offender or his relatives mentioned by the law. In provocation, the cause that brought about the provocation need not be a grave offense. 3. In provocation, it is necessary that the provocation or threat immediately preceded the act, i.e., that there be no interval of time between the provocation and the commission of the crime. While in vindication, the vindication of the grave offense may be proximate, which admits of an interval of time between the grave offense done by the offended party and the commission of the crime by the accused. Reason for the difference. This greater leniency in the case of vindication is due undoubtedly to the fact that it concerns the honor of a person. An offense which is more worthy of consideration than mere spite against the one giving the provocation or threat. Killing a relative is a grave offense. It was most natural and logical for the appellant to have been enraged and obfuscated at the sight of his dead son and seized by that feeling of hatred and rancor, to have stabbed indiscriminately the people around. On the other hand, the attenuating circumstance of immediate vindication of a grave offense, the stabbing of his son to death, or of having committed the crime upon an impulse so powerful as naturally to have produced passion or obfuscation, may be deemed to have attended the commission of the crime alternatively. Because both mitigating circumstances cannot coexist. People versus Doniego. Basis to determine the gravity of offense in vindication. The question whether or not a certain personal offense is grave must be decided by the court, having in mind the social standing of the person, the place, and the time when the insult was made. See People versus Ruiz, where the rule was applied. During a fiesta, an old man 70 years of age asked the deceased for some roast pig. In the presence of many guests, the deceased insulted the old man, saying, "There is no more. Come here and I will make roast pig of you." A little later, while the deceased was squatting down, the old man came up behind him and struck him on the head with an axe. Held. While it may be mere trifle to an average person, it evidently was a serious matter to an old man, to be made the butt of a joke in the presence of so many guests. The accused was given the benefit of the mitigating circumstance of vindication of a grave offense. U.S. versus Ampar. In that case, the age of the accused and the place were considered in determining the gravity of the offense. Considered grave offense. One sarcastic remark implying that the accused was a petty tyrant. The offended party, a volunteer worker to repair an abandoned road, arrived in the afternoon when the work should have started in the morning. Inquired by the accused, the man in charge of the work, why he came late. The offended party retorted sarcastically, "Perhaps during the Spanish regime when one comes late, he is punished." Infuriated at the reply, the accused fired his gun but did not hit the offended party. People versus Bataquin. To remark of the injured party before the guests that accused lived at the expense of his wife. People versus Rosal. The place was taken into consideration in that case. 3. Taking into account that the American forces had just occupied Manila, it is not strange that the accused should have considered it then as a grave offense when the offended party said, "You are a Japanese spy." People versus Luna. The time was taken into consideration in that case. For if a person kills another for having found him in the act of committing an attempt against his, accused's, wife, he is entitled to the benefits of the circumstance of having acted in vindication of a grave offense against his and his wife's honor. U.S. versus Alcacid, see also U.S. versus Davis. 5. Where the injured party had insulted the father of the accused by contemptuously telling him, "Phse, Ishura Monglalik, Shah, you are but a shrimp," the accused who attacked the injured party acted in vindication of a grave offense to his father. People versus David. The provocation should be proportionate to the damage caused by the act and adequate to stir one to its commission. Aside from the fact that the provocation should immediately precede the commission of the offense, it should also be proportionate to the damage caused by the act and adequate to stir one to its commission. The remark attributed to the deceased that the daughter of the accused is a flirt does not warrant and justify the act of accused in slaying the victim. People versus Lopez. Basis of paragraph 5. The mitigating circumstance in paragraph 5 of Article 13 is based on the diminution of the conditions of voluntariness.